Good morning. How is everybody? Okay. All right. Enjoying the conference? Awesome, awesome. So my name is Brenda Sanders. I'm going to be your MC today. And I would like to welcome everyone to the National Animal Rights 2019, Animal Rights 2019 National Conference. I'm so happy to be here. And this is my first time MCing like a big, fancy, important event. So bear with me. And this is big and fancy, I must say. So before we get started, I would like to bring up Jen and a few other attendees to make some announcements.
Thank you, Brenda. It's so nice to have you. Hi, everybody. Good morning. I see probably a lot of people were partying last night because the room is still getting filled. But you guys are the early risers, so thank you for that. I know you guys are like the reliable ones, so we know we can trust you. All right, so I just wanted to make a few announcements this morning. I'm also going to make some announcements at the end of this morning's program, but I hope you all are having a great time. Again, I know that there's a lot going on, and if you have any questions throughout the conference, if you're confused about anything, we do have a welcome center upstairs by registration on the main level. They can help answer any questions that you have. I do want to say a few things that people seem to have been maybe confused about. The hotel is offering discounted parking for us, so if you've driven here, we do have discounted parking. So it's $8 if you're staying at the hotel, $11 if you're a visitor. You can make sure to pick up parking passes up at registration or up at the hotel front desk, but make sure that they charge you that rate, because some people were saying they were charging the full rate, which is like $28, which is crazy. We've really been working hard with this hotel to, get the prices down. We've originally, when we first negotiated, we negotiated $102 sleeping room rates. All of your sleeping rooms here should be vegan friendly. So we had gotten them to make sure that they don't have any down pillows, down bedding, no dairy creamers in the, so we're working really hard. So if they do have that in your sleeping room, we would like to know, because we want feedback. All of your rooms are supposed to be vegan friendly. So please do let us know so that we can give the feedback to the hotel. And again, as I mentioned, we were working with the chef, so we've really made an amazing menu. We have lunches and dinners through him, especially lunch today in the terrace. He's got a really great menu. We're going to be posting it. Please do support him, because we've worked really hard to have him customize and really make the meals great for us. So I do hope that you take advantage of that. And I am going to be making a little more of an announcement later about our banquet, but we do have a really nice banquet reception this evening, so I'm going to save that for later, but I want to give a heads up about that. So anyway, I guess before moving along, we have some announcements from attendees. So, as I said, we offer an opportunity for everyone to maybe just give a 30-second quick announcement to everybody for someone who wants to share something with the audience. So come on up.
Hi. So why is this face smiling?
Wait a second, you have to talk into the microphone. Wait, you gotta talk into the microphone.
Do I have to redo that?
Yeah. Is there the wireless?
Probably not. I'm pretty loud. So I'm really happy because I'm with all of you guys, and I feel safe and wonderful, and my values won't be skeptical received. They'll be welcome received. So that's really beautiful. So thanks for all being here, and thanks for doing this great job to farm. So the other reason I'm really happy is we figured out an easy way to save 1,712,454 animals a year. And you get to help us do it. So come to our booth, take a picture with your angel wings by the escalator, post it online, tag somebody, and we'll give you 2 meals, one for you and one to give to a non-vegan. And our goal is to help 2 million non-vegans eat 2 vegan meals a week. Thank you. Veg ready.
All right. right, so that sounds pretty awesome. Following that up with some other awesome opportunities, my name is Kelsey and I'm with the Humane League, and I wanted to let you know of a few things going on this week. So one, we just launched this awesome new volunteer opportunity called a volunteer captain, and it's basically a way to be a leader, an animal rights leader in your community. You get extensive training, you work one-on-one with a Humane League staff member, and you get to organize all kinds of events in your community. So if you're interested in that, stop by our table. We'll show you how to apply. You can sign up for an interview with your regional organizer. So that's one thing. Then second, we have a lunch and learn today at 12:15. There will be free pizza from And Pizza, and you'll also get to take some actions for animals while you're here. And then lastly, we are hosting a protest with our coalition partners tomorrow at 7 p.m. at a McDonald's about 2 miles from here, not too far. We'll be helping to coordinate rides as well, so stop by our table, Mercy for Animals table, Animal Equality, Compassion Over Killing. Is anyone here else with those flyers? Stop by, we'll give you more information. Thanks.
Hello everyone, my name is Mark Pruitt and I am one of the founders of Uplands Peak Sanctuary. Feel free to visit us on the main level in the exhibitor room there. But I just wanted to announce that we do have an opening for an animal caregiver. So if your dream has always been to work with farm animals and you don't mind doing it in the middle of Indiana, which we're about an hour from Indianapolis and about 30 minutes from Bloomington, if you have any reference points there. But and we offer free housing, we offer a week's vacation. It's just a really great opportunity. We are a smaller organization, so there is tremendous room for growth. So, you know, you might start out as an animal caregiver and end up running the place. Who knows? But if you're interested in the position, please come talk to us. You know, we might even be able to set up an interview here. So, hope you'll come join us. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Claire Mann here. Yesterday I gave a talk on the power of intention. And unfortunately I didn't get to finish the exercise. And a number of you came up and said, well, what was the exercise, Claire? What was that for the conference? And so I've decided to do a webinar on that, where I'll go through those sort of presentation points and do the meditation. So if you're interested, please come up to my booth in the Magnolia Room. The second thing is people came up to me and said, do you know that intention stuff, Claire? I want to kind of believe it, but how do we get sort of intentions to affect the physical matter? Does it just jump across? And I said, well, I was sharing the science with you, although I did it quite quickly. And they said, yeah, I'm not really sort of, it's not so good there. And I said, isn't that the same thing that the omnivores tell us? We tell them all the science, and yet they say, well, it wouldn't work for me. That is the topic of my companion to Vistopia, the anguish of being vegan, non-vegan world. I'm doing a pre-launch here at the conference. It's called Myths of Choice, Why People Won't Change and What to Do About It. And I'm launching it at 2 o'clock, so you're very, very welcome to come along. Have a great conference.
Good morning, all of you beautiful animal-loving people. I am Eric Lindstrom, Director of Marketing for Compassion Over Killing. I'm also the person who helps arrange the book signing events for this conference. So because this schedule is not in the program, it is on the conference website. I'm just going to run it down real quick to let you know what's happening today and tomorrow for some of your favorite vegan authors. Today at 1 p.m. Oh, and the book signing table is right over there by the escalator next to Victoria Moran, who's signing today at 1, along with Joanne MacArthur. So if you don't know the books, come up and see me. I know which books they're signing. 2 p.m., Claire Mann, who you just heard from. 4 p.m. is Karen Davis. 5 p.m. is Melanie Joy with Compassion Over Killing's own Laura Cascada. Tomorrow, 1 p.m. is me. And then at 2 p.m. is Aisha Akhtar. So please, again, if you have more questions about the schedule, I'd love to answer them for you. The book signing table is right by the escalator. And thank you for all you do for the animals.
Hi, my name is Jason. Just want to let you know about vegevents.com. If you're looking for vegan events anywhere in the world, there are over 4,000 events. You could also sign up for a newsletter that will send you an email every week with events near you. You can tell people about it. Really helped me in the beginning finding all the meetup groups out there and all these events to really get that support, replace my non-vegan friends. And then, so now, people didn't know the events were just around the block from them. So vegevents.com. Also, if you're looking for the updated program, AR conference.org, the website has a program page that we've been updating, and it's mobile friendly. So just arconference.org/program. Thanks.
Good morning. My name is Mark. I am with Treeline Cheese, which I know a lot of you have been enjoying over the last few days. But today, I am Sparky with Vegan Knights. Vegan Knights is our new motorcycle club. We're just a bunch of vegan motorcycle enthusiasts. We are around the country, just a handful of us. We are trying to change perceptions of bikers as well as vegans, and we're looking for some ideas on what to do. We're looking for some noble missions. We're looking for supporters. We're looking for new members to be patched. So I'll be around wearing this vest. If you have any ideas, please come up to me. You can find us on Facebook at Vegan Knights, vegannights.com. Email us at info@vegannights.com. Thank you for all you do for the animals.
Hi there, my name's Mick McIntyre, and I am the co-director with my partner Kate of a feature documentary called Kangaroo. We are screening the film this morning in this room at 10:45 today. Unfortunately, it's not on the program, so that's why I'm up here telling you. 10:45 in this room this morning. We have spent the last 5 years researching and producing this documentary that basically exposes the largest wildlife slaughter on the planet. The kangaroos really need your help. The reason we're here in America is that America is the largest consumer of kangaroo products, second largest consumer of kangaroo products behind Europe. So that's why we're here. So you'll learn lots about what you can do to help kangaroos. We basically give the big red kangaroo 10 years unless something happens to stop this industry. It is that serious. The Australian government is completely implicit in what's going on, so please come and learn about the kangaroos and learn about how Americans can stop this barbaric and cruel trade. The film has won many awards. And earlier this year it was considered for the Academy Awards under the Best Feature Documentary, so we're very proud of it. So please come and watch the film at 10:45 in this room this morning. Thanks very much.
Hi, I'm Silesh Rao with Climate Healers. I was really happy yesterday when Claire Mann was giving her talk and she asked everyone, how many of you would like to see a vegan world by 2026? And everybody raised their hands. And then she asked, how many of you believe it can happen? And there were only 10 people. So I want you to believe it can happen, because once we believe something can happen, we work to make it happen. If we don't believe it can happen, we don't work on it. So please believe it can happen and come and join us for the Vegan World 2026 conference in Mesa, Arizona, October 25th through 27th of this year. We have a lot of work to do, and we can get it done. Thank you very much.
Hello, everyone. So I am the CEO of an organization that's been around for 3 months now. We're called Save All the Pets. Pretty clear what we're trying to do. But what we're doing is actually very different than anybody else out there. What I'm doing is I'm going to use data science to figure out where animals are statistically more likely to be adopted, and then I'm going to rescue them from kill shelters and move them to where they're more likely to be adopted using data science. So Moneyball for animal rescue. Thanks. So we're having a couple of events. I'm based here in DC, so if you're here, I'd love to see you at our fundraiser on August 24th or September 13th. Of course, I forgot to bring the cards that have information about that, but it'll be on our website, saveallthepets.org. And if you're interested in chatting with me, I'll be in that corner at the end of this little chat. So look forward to seeing some of you. Have a good one.
At this time, I'd like to welcome our panelists, Kathy Stevens, K.R. Vargas, Genesis Butler, Erica Meier, and Naijha Wright-Brown to the stage. Okay, so I'm just going to go through and read for each person a bio, and then I have a few words to say, because I always have words to say. Former award-winning educator Kathy Stevens founded Catskill Animal Sanctuary in New York's Hudson Valley in 2001. Today, CAS is not only one of the world's leading sanctuaries for farmed animals, it is also a leading voice in the call for humanity to adopt veganism as the single most impactful way to save animals and reverse climate change. The sanctuary's New Leaf Mentor program, for instance, has supported aspiring vegans in 26 countries around the world. Kathy is the author of 2 books about the work of Catskill Animal Sanctuary, a former Huffington Post blogger, a frequent contributor to books, podcasts, and articles on animal sentience, animal rights, and veganism. You can listen to her new podcast, All Beings Considered, on iTunes or Stitcher. So I didn't know much about Kathy Stevens, and so I just thought, well, let me go and see if there's anything on the internet about her. And so I came across these videos, and I thought, well, you know, I don't have a lot of time, but I'll just go ahead and like watch a little bit of one of the videos. So after having watched all the videos, I even went and searched for more videos because Kathy is just so passionate. Like, you feel it. It comes through in her talks, and her knowledge of what she's talking about and expertise is just like so apparent. And I enjoyed every minute of every single video that I watched. So I would love to welcome now to the stage, to the podium, Kathy Stevens.
Good morning. Okay. How do I start it? I'm doing what you told me to do. Want to hear more animal imitations? Those are the only 2 I can do, unfortunately. There you go. That's it. Are we good to go? Fingers crossed. I'm going to start with 2 assumptions. I believe that everybody in this room understands the relationship between our diet and climate chaos, depending on who's measuring and what factors they've measured. It is a leading or the leading cause of what we're facing, which is the end of life on this planet. I also make the assumption that every single person in this room understands what we know for a fact. At Catskill Animal Sanctuary, at Woodstock, at Indraloka, at Kindred Spirits, at sanctuaries around the world, that in the ways that matter, we are all the same. Animals want their lives every bit as much as we want ours. Animals are delightfully, sometimes maddeningly individual. Animals experience every single emotion we do, and of course, including pain, fear, and suffering. I assume that every single person in this room knows this, that is our baseline. What I don't think we know and that we wrestle with sufficiently is the fact that there are lots of people going vegan, but very few who keep that commitment, according to a study that's fairly frequently cited, a study by Faunalytics. It was done 4.5 years ago. In other words, Houston, we've got a problem. People come down the driveway of sanctuaries, good people who love their dogs and cats, who are not intentionally participating in suffering, and they are disarmed. They don't expect for pigs to run up when we call their names and to flop down for a belly rub and to say, thank you. They don't expect to have chickens fall asleep in their arms. They don't expect cows to lick their faces until your face will bleed unless you pull away. And they don't expect turkeys to fall asleep in their laps. They don't expect sheep to come and rip their hearts out with their soulfulness, to walk up and say, I love you. Isn't it a beautiful day? Here's a fun fact. My dear friend Rachel McChrystal, raise your hand, Rachel, from Woodstock Sanctuary, she and I were chatting at last year's conference in LA, and I said, did you know that we surveyed our visitors, and of the non-vegans, 93% say at the end of a tour that they intend to reduce or eliminate animal products. And she said, you're kidding. We got almost exactly the same result. In other words, as Rachel says, sanctuaries are vegan makers. That is our magic. That is our outreach. 6 months later, we've done this 3 years in a row. An average of 88% of that 93 who said, non-vegans who said they intend to reduce or eliminate animal products, an average over 3 years of 88% have met or exceeded that goal to reduce or eliminate animal products. So sanctuary people in the audience, I see you, know that and own that. It's not the only form of outreach we are doing. So for example, Safe Haven Farm Sanctuary in New York, they're becoming conference organizers. They organized a conference at City College, and at their new property they have a conference center, and will continue to offer conferences that invite people to connect the dots between their lifestyle, the suffering of animals, and the desperate suffering that the planet is experiencing. Indra Loka's wonderful Hopeful Heroes initiative is a program that works with needy children and does a few things. Number one, we know that public schools have eliminated or are eliminating arts, music, phys ed. It allows those things to happen on a sanctuary environment. They partner with homeless teens to give them the support they need. And they offer Earth Camp all on site at Indra Loka. Over half of the students are low income and are provided financial support. Uplands Peak charters buses and brings people who are too far away, who wouldn't otherwise come to the sanctuary, to have that experience that I just talked about. Rowdy Girl has a rancher advocacy program that provides people who are starting to feel disturbed, who no longer want to participate in the growing and suffering and death of the animals that they've made their living on. So they provide them emotional support, and they're at the ready, thanks to funding partners, to provide financial support for ranchers wanting to transition out and to grow plants instead of growing animals. I agree, that's pretty woo. And the Catskill Animal Sanctuary. I'm thrilled to have just launched a podcast, All Beings Considered. Our New Leaf Mentor program matches aspiring vegans in 26 countries around the world with real live trained individual mentors. We offer a Camp Kindness Leadership Camp that gives supports to children once they go back into the schools and want to become little animal rights activists. And we have a cooking program that has just launched. In addition to a blog, weekend taste testings, cooking classes, has also just released a cookbook, Compassionate Cuisine, that has peppered throughout it animal stories. In other words, this is a terrifying time. If we are alive and conscious, this is a terrifying time to be someone who loves animals and who wants to leave a planet for future generations like the one we have known. In this era of return on investment, effective altruism, demanding that sanctuaries prove their worth. There's a lot of argument out there that sanctuaries are an inefficient model because it costs too much to feed a cow over the course of his life. Well, surely, in our work to change the world for all animals, that one cow matters. And that one cow, as Woodstock knows, as Catskill knows, and as I would encourage all sanctuaries to measure, that one cow is having a profound impact. Sanctuaries, do what you do well, do it boldly, do it with excellence, reject the naysayers. When you've got some years under your belt, come to those of us who have been doing it for a while for ideas and support and inspiration for how to grow your impact exponentially. Because apparently, what we're doing is working. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Kathy. I feel like after having watched so much of your videos, like so many hours of your videos, I too am an expert in all things farmed animals and farmed animal sanctuaries. So thank you. K.R. Vargas is the founder and executive director of La Raza for Liberation, a nonprofit organization that connects and supports Latinx and indigenous activists working across human, animal, and environmental justice movements. They were born and raised in the San Francisco Bay Area to Central and South American parents and have a degree in speech communication from Ithaca College in New York, as well as a certificate in plant-based nutrition from the T. Colin Campbell Center for Nutrition Studies in partnerships with Cornell University. KR has over 10 years of public speaking experience and has traveled across the U.S. and overseas working in community development, conflict resolution, homelessness, domestic abuse, mass incarceration, and animal rights. And when I read that, I thought to myself, okay, so KR is just trying to liberate everybody. Like, I don't know if the people in this room know how exhausting it is to care about everybody. It is exhausting. I mean, some days I wake up and I'm just like, okay, who am I going to care about today? Because I can't, like, I'm tired. I'm tired. So this is really remarkable, and I'm really inspired and impressed by KR's work. And I would like to welcome KR to the podium.
I'd like to invite you, if you're able to stand and close your eyes with me and be present in your body for a moment. I want to acknowledge the land we're standing on right now that was stolen from the Piscataway, Manahoic, and Anacostan people. I want to take this moment to encourage everyone to learn about the history of the land that you are on and take the initiative to connect with and support Indigenous people who are still alive and resisting today. For those of you who haven't heard me speak before, I want to give you a quick disclaimer that this talk might make you uncomfortable. But that is a good thing, actually. I really encourage you to lean into that discomfort because that's actually where learning and growth happens. So you may please be seated. So I was invited today to speak about my work, although I struggle to call it mine, really, as it wouldn't really exist without my community. That to me, though, is I guess what grassroots organizing is about. The people, as well as working at the roots of an issue, or in most cases, multiple issues. About a year ago, I started to think more about relationship to land, and it has honestly drastically changed the way that I understand the world, the way that I organize, and even my ultimate goals in life, both personally and professionally. Very blurry line. I have realized that land is really the root of all social, economic, and political justice issues, including this one. And strangely enough, that analysis of our relationship to land seems to be missing from a movement that advocates for the very animals that depend on it. And I'm not using the word relationship here lightly. I'm not talking about going on hikes and being like, wow, nature is so beautiful. I'm also not talking about the connection between farmed animal agriculture and environmental pollution, although that's really important too. I'm talking about history with land. And not just our own personal history, but our parents, our grandparents, so on and so forth. And that, for most of us, including myself, with European ancestors, means being uncomfortable because our history is not pretty. This land, the United States of America, was stolen. It was stolen and it remains stolen to this day, and its wealth was built on the backs of slaves. So that's not really a history that feels good, but ignoring it is causing us a lot of problems. For indigenous people, losing connection and relationship to land also means losing relationship to food, to culture, to spirituality, among many other things. And many practices have been lost forever, and others continue to be exploited and appropriated today. So it's interesting to me how white this room is, despite the fact that indigenous communities, black communities, have been defending the natural world, practicing veganism since before it was called being vegan. So how did this happen? That's the elephant in the room. White people did not invent compassion and respect for the earth and all living beings. In fact, we could actually probably make the argument that we invented the exact opposite, considering our global history and the socio-political and economic systems and structures that we created that are still in place today, like factory farming. I'm not saying this to shame you, but rather point out that our history should be informing our role in dismantling the problem that is not just speciesism, but at its root, colonialism. This is a really brilliant essay on the right here about how colonialism impacted cultural foodways. It's on the Food Empowerment Project's website. If you missed Lauren Ornelas' talk last night, you can catch her again today and on Sunday. I also really recommend buying and reading Sista Vegan by Dr. Breeze Harper, going to see AFCO's talk today right after this. About zoological racism. There's also a panel on Native American perspectives, a talk on Africa on Sunday. There's a lot of good stuff happening, so go check it out. But my point is that we all have different interests, different skills, different strengths, different privileges, and that is beautiful. We shouldn't be afraid of it. That's beautiful, because that means that we can have people working at every single angle and strategy point of this thing. And we need that because that's how invasive this problem is. This problem, colonialism, has so many faces. Some are unnoticeable and inconspicuous. Some are symptoms of symptoms of symptoms, and some are the actual problem itself to this day. Pipelines being built on what's supposed to be sovereign native land, telescopes on Mauna Kea, mission trips, volunteer tourism, studying abroad. So understanding this, understanding the breadth of colonialism is the foundation of my work and the Decolonizing Conference, which is an unlearning and healing event for people of color, people of the global majority, working across human, animal, and environmental justice movements. So this is a space for us to learn our history from each other because our educational system is failing us, as is intended to do. And it's a space for us to heal because it's extremely difficult to talk about this stuff, to face generations of trauma and loss on our own. So we just completed our third unconference in Los Angeles last weekend, actually. Pretty tired. Our next one is set for October in Chicago. And because of a history of being overworked and underpaid, we compensate all of our speakers. We provide a free vegan meal to all of our attendees. And they're, of course, catered by local Black and Brown-owned businesses. So we aim to continue bringing this free grassroots event to 3 cities per year. So I've also realized through this work, through this project, that working on myself is immensely crucial to its success. As activists, we're really quick to want to save the world, save the environment, save the animals, but we must be really mindful of ego and white saviorism. Though this is something that is important in every social justice issue, I think it's especially true in animal rights, because unlike marginalized human beings, they can't speak our language and consent to how we are advocating on their behalf. So one of our biggest priorities should really be facing and unpacking our whiteness inside and outside of our activism and using our privilege, not as a savior, but as a responsibility. So if you've learned anything from my talk and you'd like to donate to my work, you can do so via PayPal. We also have a grassroots collectively run program called Veggie Mijas, which means veggie children in Spanglish. And that's in over 10 cities around the country. We provide local support to women and non-binary vegans of color, and I would love to introduce you to the founders of this program who are here with me today. And that's about it. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you, Jen Riley, wherever you are, so much for believing in my work, and just really for being an example of what allyship to marginalized people in the movement looks like. Really appreciate you.
Thank you so much, KR. I'm looking forward to, I haven't attended an unconference yet, but I'm looking forward to everything that means, and especially the healing aspects, because see, aforementioned, I am tired. Tired, physically tired. I'm not tired of you. I'm like just physically exhausted. Okay, so Naijha, I have a confession to make. So I have this paper that I got from the conference that has everybody's bios on it, and you're not on here, but you don't need to be because I know every single thing about you. So. So Naijha Wright-Brown is an amazing human being, and I'm not just saying that because she's my co-conspirator in the Vegan Soul Festival. Naijha is the co-owner of the Land of Kush Vegan Bistro, which is in Baltimore, which is like famous. I mean, if you haven't heard of the Land of Kush, then you're not looking. for delicious vegan soul food, because like so many celebrities have gone there. Like they've been reached out to from, you know, people like Ellen DeGeneres, and, you know, Stevie Wonder was at the restaurant. I mean, it's like a big deal, and in big part because Naijha is just such an amazing businesswoman and marketer, and I'm really hoping that you will teach those marketing classes soon, because I need a lot of help. She's also the executive director of the Black Vegetarian Society of Maryland, which is doing big work. I mean, they just won an award from Veg Fund last night. I didn't make it, I'm sorry, but I really wanted to be there, and I was there in spirit, doing doing amazing work in Baltimore to spread this sort of education and information that there is a different way, a better way of doing things to communities where this information is not making it, right? So doing such important work, as well as launching the Maryland Vegan Restaurant Week, which is a huge deal. We have now so many just non-vegan restaurants in Baltimore that are jumping on board and saying, okay, maybe this is something that we need to be paying attention to, and like really expanding the idea of eating plant-based foods and putting veganism on the map in Baltimore. Naijha is one of the kindest people who I know, and she and I started working together back in 2014, organizing Vegan Soul Fest, which, just a quick plug, has grown from bringing out 1,200 people in 2014 to 16,000 people in 2018. So. Thank you. And I just wanted to say that initially I thought that something was kind of fishy, because I was like, nobody is really that nice, you know? But then over time and working with Naijha, even though sometimes she tries to have like this tough exterior, she's just such a softie and such a good person, and always trying to look out for the greatest good. And so I've finally just had to throw up my hands and say, okay, she really is this nice. She's amazing, and I would like to now welcome her to the podium.
Brenda's going to make me emotional before I have to do my talk. So yes, all activism doesn't look the same, and you know, Brenda said something about doing better. I don't think anything is better. I think everyone has a purpose in their activism, and everything works. It's just you have to do what your brand is calling you to do. Everyone has a different brand in here, so I'm not going to do exactly what Brenda's doing. She won't do what I'm doing. Everyone has a purpose in this activism, and Black Veg Society of Maryland has its purpose, and we're just doing it well, in our opinion. So the transition from the restaurant to, before I get into the prezzo, the transition from being involved with the restaurant with my husband, Gregory Brown, who's probably in here somewhere, was this organization, Black Veg, was gifted to us, and it was trying to be, the gentleman, Julian, was trying to gift this to us when we were opening the restaurant, and it wasn't the right time. We were new restaurateurs. We really didn't know what we were doing, and you know, he was a customer. He saw the diversity and how our restaurant was a social hub, bringing in different cultures and backgrounds. And he said, "Here, you got to take this. You got to take this." We can't take it now because look at, you know, we got to manage this. We're in our first year. We can't deal with all of this stuff right now. So he was really pushing the fact of us adopting this Facebook page called Black Vegetarian Society that was started in 2010. So by the time that 2014 came around, I felt that the restaurant was very successful. We were reaching a point where I can get a paycheck, and I said, okay, I'm getting a little bored because I get bored easy. Let me, you know, tackle this. So this is what it's become. So who we are is the Black Vegetarian Society, BVSMD for short. The mission is definitely to educate the public, but particularly African Americans, blacks, browns, people of color, however you want to identify it, and Latinos, on the benefits of a pure vegetarian. So when I say that, a lot of folks, what is pure vegetarian? Pure vegetarian, and K.R. Vargas mentioned it. Blacks and browns, we've been doing this for ages. Hinduism, Judaism, this is nothing new to us. The Ital community, the Rastafarians, this is not brand new. We know that eating whole-based, plant-based foods, it starts there, because if you're eating that food, you're not consuming animals. So that's where it starts. Food is social. It is a very important thing. So if you're not tapping into that, then you're losing the whole point. People gather together for food during holidays, birthdays, whatever it is. It all starts with the food. So when we came into the market with Land of Kush, we were vegetarian cuisine. No eggs, no dairy, because that wasn't what we were promoting. Pure vegetarian doesn't consist of any animal products. So it's the benefits of a pure vegetarian and the vegan lifestyle, with the focus on building community around healthy, accessible, and sustainable food, and making compassionate choices. So that's always in there. You know, if you do this, it's the animals. It's also global hunger, which I learned from A Welfare World, which has been a very supportive organization in Black Veg's mission, along with Veg Fund, and I appreciate the award last night. You can find us on bvsmd.org. It's a 24/7 online access to anybody that's looking for any information on veganism, how to start, what is it, what's the reports, how do I cook. We have tons of links on there to answer anyone's question. And if we haven't answered it on the site, you can definitely email us, and we will connect you with resources. I don't care if you're in another state. I will connect you with somebody. So that is what we do with the Black Vegetarian Society of Maryland. Some of the outreach projects that we've been working on since 2014, Brenda mentioned the Vegan Soul Fest, which has grown to 16,000. Musical Meatless Monday, we've partnered with the Meatless Monday organization and John Hopkins, the Center for a Livable Future in Baltimore. Maryland Vegan Restaurant Week, which was one of the highlights last night. We were able to reach 50,000 people in the area with this Maryland Vegan Restaurant Week, and that's more of a business-to-business approach, getting businesses to put more vegan options on their menu, because we don't just eat at the Land of Kush, me and my husband. We go out. And I want vegan options just like everyone else, so I'm kind of trying to bully people to put these things on their menu. And it happened because I was eating at a restaurant, and the restaurant told me, well, you know, you people need to go around the corner and eat at that place. And I was very offended by that, and this is how Maryland Vegan Restaurant Week started. Thank you. The Keep It Fresh Fest, which is a new fest that was launched this year to focus more on getting families and their children out. So you take a festival where it's more friendly and funner, but with promoting the fruits and vegetables, and helping kids to learn about compassion for animals using coloring books and things like that, and also being entertaining and performing. So that's something that we're building, and we started this year. Table sampling, of course, again, thanks to Veg Fund for providing those grants for us to do that, and cooking exhibitions and social media campaigns. And I'll go through each one of those. The Vegan Soul Fest, again, that's what it looks like. We had a write-up in the New York Times, Black vegans step out for their cause, for their health and other causes. And you can see the Brown Vegan doing a cooking exhibition. So these are one of the major projects that we work on, along with Thrive Baltimore and Afro Vegan Society. Musical Meatless Monday, again, this is a dinner that we do once a year, and we're going to be moving to doing this twice a year, where we get the community together, and we have a family-style meal. As you can see, we're serving a buffet, all vegan products, and we bring entertainers. We connected with ETEF, DJ Kavum in Denver, so we reached that far. He came out to perform. He does eco hip hop. So he's a culinary concert artist. So we make it edutaining for folks to enjoy this plant-based meal. So it's not just us talking and beating you in the head about why you should go meatless every day and on Monday or whatever, or however you want to do it. So it's a very entertaining event. Folks have asked us to do this once a month, but again, I work on a lot of things, so if anyone wants to help me, we're trying to roll this out once a month at some point in time. But right now, we're gonna work on twice a year. Maryland Vegan Restaurant Week. You see the big billboard right in front of Horseshoe Casino? So this is how we publicize this. Okay, based on sponsorships and signups, we make no funds off of this. All of this goes into the marketing efforts of promoting the Vegan Restaurant Week. So this was the first time we launched it. We piloted it just in Baltimore, and it was a major success. We get a lot of write-ups in the news. We've been featured on television. We get to bring restaurants on to show people how they're cooking their dishes and why they should come out to the restaurant and try this food. Baltimore's Vegan Week is so popular, even meat-heavy restaurants are participating. Keep It Fresh Fest again this year. A write-up, Black Vegetarian Society of Maryland keeps it green and delicious. We brought up So Freakin' Vegan from North Carolina, who does cooking demos and also vegan parody to famous hip-hop songs by Cardi B, Drake, Beyonce. So again, edutaining. We're making it edutaining for folks to learn about veganism. We're not boring people. We like to have fun too. You see, all of us are smiling. We're having a great time. Table sampling. I can't even count on my fingers how much table sampling we do. Brassica Fest was one. We wanted to come out and introduce families to how you can go vegan, eat vegan at during Thanksgiving. There are plenty of products out there. Look at the table. Planned Parenthood. Who would think we would be tabling for Planned Parenthood's resource fair? They need to know about veganism also. So yeah, we are going where we can possibly go with this and educating people that you don't have to go to Whole Foods or Mom's. It's not that expensive. You can go to Safeway and Giant, your local supermarket, to get some of these things. And worst case scenario, beans, rice, greens, collard greens. You know, people think this whole vegan meal thing is about commercial products, and it's not. It starts Whole Foods. Cooking exhibitions. Oh, well, we're going to tell you to do all this whole food, but then you don't know how to cook it. So cooking exhibitions is another thing that we do. One of our board members, Crystal Foreman, does tons of cooking exhibition, and she does an excellent job. She's probably here in the room, so definitely want to shout her out. And again, reaching out to other restaurateurs. We got Gangsta Vegan in there doing a cooking demo for us. They'll be opening up in Baltimore soon, and Etef and his wife, Alchemia, as well. Social media campaign. So you get the call, and you know the campaign is Mothers Against Dairy, and there is me and my daughter, and promoting the fight against reducing dairy consumption. So I'm telling my story that if I've known long time ago about consuming dairy, I grew up in the projects. They give you the government cheese. What are we gonna do? We gotta eat. So just educating folks on, you know, finding alternatives to consuming cheese or no dairy. So the social media campaigns help with that. So we'll continue to do that as well. And here's where you can contact us. We're always looking for support. You know, we have tons of projects that we're going to be working on. We're really focusing on the youth and the families for the next year, because I think it starts with as they grow and the family is involved with it, we can really make an impact there. We have a 7-year-old daughter. She's been vegan since the womb. We show people it can be done. It's not that difficult. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Naijha. We have our whole little like joking thing. I mean, you're not even in on this. We have like this whole. Nope. So. All right. Genesis Butler. Genesis Butler's vegan journey began at the age of 6 when she became an ethical vegan and convinced her family to go vegan too. Genesis began giving speeches on veganism at the age of 8, and when she turned 10, she gave a TEDx talk on animal agriculture and its destruction of the planet. By the age of 11, Genesis started her nonprofit, Genesis for Animals, to raise money for sanctuaries so they can continue to save the lives of animals. This year, she led the $1 Million Vegan campaign where she asked the Pope to go vegan for Lent. Genesis also travels to Sacramento to lobby for animals and has won numerous awards for her activism, including the Lisa Shapiro Young Animal Activism Award at last year's AR conference. PETA's Carly and Lori McGrath Young Hero for Animals Award, and Social Compassion in Legislation's Rising Star Award. So I think I met Genesis for the first time at last year's AR conference, and I was just so impressed. I mean, she's a young person, so she still kind of has that young kid's exuberance, but also she just has this presence. And I'm really convinced that it comes from such a deep well of compassion and just like consideration for all beings. And so I was extremely impressed and happy to meet her, and I am really happy to welcome her up to the podium today.
Hi, I'm 12 years old, and I am a youth activist, and I want to tell you a little bit about my own journey into activism. My activism started 6 years ago when I was 6. I became an activist a few months after I went vegan because I knew I was helping animals by not eating them, but I wanted to do more for the animals. My mom did some research on what I could do for the animals, and she told me about activism, so I told her that I really wanted to become an activist. She really didn't know anything about animal activism, but she was aware of PETA. So she messaged them on Facebook, and they told her about a Ringling Brothers protest near me. I told her that I wanted to go to the protest, so she took me. I was a little nervous, but when I got there, all the activists showed me what to do, and I left knowing that I helped educate people about animal abuse. A few days later, my mom passed by a house with a termite tent over it, and I said, "Look, Mom, there's a circus. Let's go protest." But I was only 6, so I didn't know that it was a termite tent. And she said, "Genesis, that's a termite tent," but I didn't know. So she knew that I really wanted to protest the termite tent, so instead she took me back to the circus to protest again. And since then, I have been fighting for the animals. It was something I knew I wanted to do for the rest of my life, even when they are finally liberated, because I know that they're going to need people to keep fighting for them to make sure that they stay protected. I think it is so important for kids to get involved in activism because it shows adults that kids know better and they should know better too. When I became an activist, I didn't really think adults would listen to me, but they do. Adults see us out there and they want to know why we are protesting for the animals, so they will talk to us and see that we really care and want to help the animals. So, what type of activism do kids do? Well, we do the same type of activism as adults. Kids do cubes of truth, Save Movement vigils, PETA protest, vegan outrage leafleting, just about any form of activism that you could think of. We even lobby for animals, which is one of my favorite forms of activism. Kids go to city council meetings, commission meetings, and state senate hearings to be a voice for the animals. Last year, I spoke in front of California State Hearing Committee to ask them to pass a bill to make it mandatory for hospitals, prisons, and nursing homes to have at least one vegan option and at every meal. And this bill will be passed starting in 2020. This law will go into effect in California. When kids go to political meetings to speak up for the animals, the political leaders are always happy to see us because they love seeing children getting involved and using our voices. They thank us for being out there, but the people who abuse animals are afraid of us because they know that our voices are powerful. When I went to Sacramento to speak up against the trophy hunters at the Senate committee hearing, one of the hunters got really mad and he told one of the activists that it was really unfair to bring a child to the meeting. Well, the activist told him, well, it's unfair that you shoot animals from afar and don't give them a chance to fight back. Well, he walked away really quickly. Kids are also challenging world leaders to take action and stop letting people destroy the planet. Kids like Greta are demanding that they take action, and I have been doing the same because we can't let them keep destroying the planet. I recently challenged the Pope to go vegan for Lent with $1 Million Vegan Campaign because I know he has a huge influence around people all over the world. I also challenge him because he always talks about how he loves to save the planet, how he loves animals. I went to Rome and I was invited into the Vatican to meet the senior official, and he told me that he would give my letter to the Pope. I heard back from the Pope a week later, and he thanked me for my activism, but he didn't go vegan. And for Lent, he gave up gossip. But at least the campaign raised awareness around the world on all the reasons why people should stop eating animals. I also recently went to Milan, where I spoke at the Global Food Summit that was attended by all the heads of major corporations around the world, like Tyson. I told them that the food they are producing is killing the planet, and they need to take responsibility because it's my generation may not have a planet to live on, and billions of animals are being killed when they don't have to be. So, what can adults do to help youth activists? Well, the best thing you can do is keep supporting us and giving us safe spaces where we can be a voice for the animals. I know all protests, marches, and vigils I go to are safe because the adults that organize the events do a really great job on making sure everyone is safe. Also, if you see a kid, yes, please. Also, if you see a kid who is at their first activism event, take the time to talk to them and see if they need anything. I know adults who helped me at my first protest are a big reason why I keep going back. Another way you could help youth activists is find out if they have social media pages and follow them and follow their activism. I have so many amazing people who follow my accounts, and their love and support and encouragement really does help. Let youth activists know that you support them because it makes a difference. If you are a parent and you are not sure if your child should be an activist, please know that you are empowering your child when you let them have a voice to speak up for those who don't have a voice. I know I really got empowered when my mom helped me become an activist because I realized that I have a voice and people do listen to what kids have to say. I started paying attention to other causes, and now I'm not only an animal rights activist, but I am also an environmentalist, because it is all connected. I'm starting to learn more about intersectionality too, and I want to be able to be a voice for those who are exploited and oppressed, both humans and non-humans, because we are all in this together and we need to help each other. To everyone today, Thank you for leading the way for all you have done for the animals. Youth activists are the new disruptors, we are the new rebels, and we are following the lead of activists who fought for animal liberation before us. We are really close to animal liberation thanks to you all here today. No matter how old you are, your activism is needed, so keep being a voice for the animals. Thank you.
Thank you, Genesis. So remember at the beginning when I said that this was my first time emceeing like a big fancy event like this? That was my disclaimer. I would like to apologize to Erica because she was not supposed to follow Genesis. So sorry. Wow, okay. So, that must have been Greg. Okay, Erica Meier is the executive director of Compassion Over Killing, a nonprofit animal protection organization based in Washington, D.C. Since 1995, COK has worked to expose farmed animal abuse and promote veg-friendly eating by employing a variety of strategies, including hard-hitting undercover investigations, groundbreaking proactive litigation, successful corporate campaigns, and empowering public outreach programs. In addition to ending the egg industry's misleading animal care certified claim, under Erica's leadership, COK has persuaded food giants, including Subway, Dunkin' Donuts, Boca Foods, and Morningstar Farms, to add vegan options to their menus. Erica has also appeared in several major news stories on CNN, ABC's Nightline News, The Washington Post, LA Times, and more. These accomplishments, along with many more, earned her the coveted National Animal Rights Hall of Fame Award in 2013. Have you ever met somebody and your first thought was like, they really have their stuff together? That's exactly how I feel about Erica every time I see her. She's such an inspiration to me. She's sort of orchestrating all these things at this amazing organization. And if it was me trying to like mentally, orchestrate all of this, I wouldn't even like know what day it was. I don't even know what day it is today. So. So certainly, somebody like Erica who has their stuff together would not have switched the order of the two people. So, in addition to all that she's doing and all this amazing work, she also takes the time to like ask me about my work and listen to me and also like support the work that I'm doing in Baltimore, which I just think is so amazing. And so I would like to welcome Erica to the podium.
Thank you, Brenda. I'm so glad that it looks like I have all my shit together. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't think I was supposed to use that word. See? I don't. All right, how's everyone doing this morning? Have you guys had a very inspiring conference so far? Yes? Because this is the biggest day of the conference. So the banquet tonight, all the plenaries and talks today, and so far leading up to it, it's been, I think, an incredible event. Again, I want to give a shout out to Jen Riley and Ethan for organizing this. So today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about institutional change. And when people hear the word institution, everyone kind of thinks of something a little bit different. And for me, when I think of institutional change, I think of change on a really big scale that can trickle down into communities and have a large impact, not only on individuals, but also on the animals. And hopefully those changes will begin to shift an entire model. So I'm going to talk a little bit today about institutional change at the factory farm level, the food level, from local community restaurants to fast food chains, as well as cafeterias, like in schools or in the places where you might work, and how we can begin to make massive changes for animals on a starting what seems like a small scale, but can have a very significant impact. So the goal is to get plant-based options and shift all our models to plant-based food eating and growing, even in local communities with community gardens. If you guys don't grow your own food or have that kind of activism in your community, please find a local organization that is working on that. It's so important. But I'm going to start with a pop quiz. And some of you may know this question, so don't shout out. But does anyone know how many factory farmers it takes to change a light bulb? Any guesses? Not Jody. All right, so the number of factory farmers it takes to change a light bulb is none, because they want to keep us in the dark. And I think this is a really important place to start when you're talking about any kind of activism, because what is propelling all of our different forms of activism that we've been talking about today is the truth, and how the truth is being kept hidden from us. And that's what's happening on factory farms today. The factory farmers want to keep us in the dark so that we don't know what's really going on behind the scenes. They keep that fairy tale myth of old McDonald's farm and everyone is happy, and shouldn't we just be eating all the meat, milk, and eggs that are being shoved in our faces through marketing and advertising. But the reality is that activists like us here in the room today are exposing the truth. We're getting out there through undercover investigations and other forms of activism to show the realities of every time we choose a meal with meat, milk, and eggs, how it impacts our own bodies, how it impacts our communities, how it impacts the animals and the environment. Because factory farmers and slaughterhouses, this model, this animal agribusiness system is exploiting everything and everyone in its path. So everything that we can do to challenge it and change it is going to make a difference. So I want to start this presentation with an article. I'm sure you guys all read meatpoultry.com. So this article, if you can see the screen close enough, you'll see it's a 2013 article. And the reason I love this article, and yes, I do read meat journals every day, is because it talks about, this is the meat industry in 2013. The primary reason people choose a vegetarian or vegan diet is to reduce animal suffering. I agree with that. I agree with that. If consumers are going to buy these meat analogs, you might as well be the one selling them. And then it goes on to say, don't fight them, join them. And here's an opportunity. And this is the meat industry from 2013. And here we are today. They have a whole new journal just called The Analog Dish, all focusing on the growth of plant-based eating in our society today. This is the meat industry. So we already know they're beginning to see the writing on the wall, that a growing number of consumers are choosing plant-based food. 2019 by The Economist was declared the year of the vegan. Have you guys seen this? And we are really proving so far that 2019 is indeed the year of the vegan. According to The Economist, 2019 will be the year veganism goes mainstream, interest in a way of life in which people eschew not just meat and leather, but all animal products, including eggs, wool, and silk, is soaring, especially among millennials. Thank you, millennials. Fully a quarter of 25 to 34-year-old Americans say they are vegans or vegetarians. This is significant, because it's coming from The Economist. This is an entity that's studying the economy and the future of our society, and they're declaring 2019 the year of the vegan. And I'm going to talk about how we as a community are helping prove The Economist to be right. So we know that plant-based food sales are continuing to grow across the board. Grocery stores, if you have gone into a grocery store recently and you've seen the dairy aisle, it is being overtaken by dairy-free products. Plant-based sales were up 31.3% according to a Forbes article in just the past 2 years alone, 31%. And that this surge is demonstrating that this is a demand that is not going away, and retailers are finally listening to this demand and they are responding en masse. I want to talk a little bit about some of the work that's being done within our communities to get this out there. So Morningstar Farms is a vegetarian food line that's been reducing its use of eggs for years, but recently they declared they are going 100% vegan. And according to their own stats, this means that they will be reducing their use of eggs by 300 million every single year. And that is so significant. And I want to just really highlight the idea of like, what does 300 million mean, right? Like that's a lot of eggs, but what does this really mean? Well, just to give you an example, when we first started, and Vegan Outreach has taken over on this initiative, but when we as an organization, Compassion Over Killing, first reached out to Morningstar Farms years ago to reduce their use of eggs, they announced that they were reducing by 1 million every single year. And so it's going to be compounding from there. But if you just take one company making one change to reduce their use of eggs by 1 million every single year, it'd be the same as you convincing 4,000 people to not eat eggs for an entire year. So getting one company to make this one change impacts a significant number of animals. So this change is rapidly happening now, that we're seeing companies get on board with the idea that it isn't even just about vegetarian options anymore. It is about going 100% plant-based. We're also seeing Corn is stepping up its game by offering more vegan options. Corn is a company that has traditionally used eggs and dairy in almost all of its products, and increasingly they're getting into the vegan market, and they have vegan fish and chicken options out there as well. So please take a look in your grocer's shelves and the freezers, and take photos and share this so people know that these options are available, because one of the main hindrances to going vegan is people don't know what's out there. So share this information with everyone. We're also seeing more people get into the game. Nestle wants to get into the burger game. They are introducing a meatless burger throughout Europe, and they will be branding, it's called the Incredible Burger, and they will be branding that through Sweet Earth in the US and getting that out there to US consumers. And it's not just food companies, it's also actual meat companies that are getting. So do you guys read Beef Central? So according to Beef Central, JBS, and this is so significant because JBS is the world's largest meat processor. They are launching a plant-based burger in Brazil, which means, yeah, it's definitely worth clapping. This is huge. They are following in line with other major food companies, meat companies getting into this with plant-based options, investing in plant-based future. And they are the largest meat processor in the world, introducing a plant-based burger in Brazil and potentially having that expand globally. So these are all just demonstrations of the change that's happening, and it's happening because we are helping to make it happen. To just continue Beyond Meat, you just went public earlier this year, and their stock is up 163%. They are taking Wall Street by storm. You can find Beyond Meat everywhere you go now. Just continuing on that, as more and more companies are making this change, we're also looking at Burger King launching an Impossible Burger. They have the vegan Whopper that's increasingly available in stores or restaurants nationwide. And what's so amazing about this is when they went nationwide, CNN not only picked up this story about Burger King offering the Impossible Whopper nationwide, they dedicated an entire section of their homepage to meatless eating with articles about Beyond Meat. Is the Impossible Burger going to lure meat lovers? How far will you go to reduce your beef intake? And New York York Public Schools having Meatless Mondays this fall. So this news is getting out there. This information is being shared. We have McDonald's, both in the U.S. offering their first vegan burger testing out in Chicago to across Europe. They have chicken nuggets, a veggie Happy Meal in the UK. They have the Big Vegan in Germany, and then they might be launching a vegan breakfast in the UK. We also have KFC. They've introduced vegan chicken in the UK, and it did better, more than 500% better, sold out within 3 days. Right here in the US, Dunkin' is just announcing that they're going to be adding a Beyond Meat sausage to their breakfast menu. We also have schools that are switching over. There are major companies providing food to the school systems, and one of them is now going to be introducing across the country vegan chicken nuggets, replacing animal-based chicken nuggets in the school systems. And studies are showing the impact that this is having in the institutions of our school system, that 261 districts are participating in Meatless Mondays, and according to one study done, 10.3 million animals have been saved as a result of Meatless Monday in the school system. And this is a campaign that just continues to grow and grow. We also have on a community level, people taking their communities by charge by opening up their own vegan restaurants. And you might not think of this as traditional institutional change on a mass scale, but this is what institutional change looks like on a community level. This one dad in Houston, he became healthier and lost weight on a vegan diet, so now he wants to share that with his community, opened up a vegan restaurant in Houston. We also have Jaden Smith. He launched his vegan food truck in LA to feed homeless in Los Angeles. Of course, I don't know if you guys have heard of this woman, Brenda Sanders. She opened up the Greener Kitchen in Baltimore, and we also, because we're in DC, I wanted to share with you, Hip City Veg just opened up its second location in DC. That happened on Wednesday. So if you have a chance, check that out. They now have 2 locations in this area. And Fast Casual Pow Pow is a restaurant that last year was a traditional meat-based restaurant. They decided for ethical reasons to go 100% vegan. And not only did they go vegan, they inspired other restaurants. Here's a food truck that was inspired by the success of Pow Pow. So they also decided to go vegan as well. So these changes inspire other people to continue making more changes. On a factory farming level, and I'm going to wrap it up right here, I just wanted to highlight some of the work being done on a transformational level with the animal industry itself. So we know that institutionally changing companies to offer more vegan options. It decreases the demand for animal ingredients, increases the supply of vegan options, makes these options more readily available to help mainstream the idea that we don't need to eat animals and that plant-based options are readily available. And this is also impacting the number of animals being raised and killed for food. And one of the ways that we're seeing this is the actual factory farmers themselves making these changes. Transformational changes. It was soul-destroying, said a beef and dairy company in the UK, and they are now, the farmers themselves have gone vegan and they're now growing vegetables instead. So this is a farm transformational program that is happening rapidly across the globe. There's articles studying this because it is not an uncommon phenomenon. This is a lamb farmer who decided to not bring his lambs to slaughter, and instead he also now grows vegetables. Another example, this is a farm that also transformed a dairy farm, and now it's a sanctuary school, and you can read more about this at the farmtransformers.org website. This is an actual campaign that is being worked on to change the animal ag model. So how did we get to growing all of this veganism? Well, it comes because of people like you who are willing to get on the phone, use your social media campaigns for change, email companies. None of this would happen without you. You may not feel responsible for McDonald's offering vegan options somewhere, but you are. You are helping create that demand. So every time you go to a restaurant, a grocery store, a cafeteria where there aren't vegan options available, ask for them. Because the only way these companies are going to know the demand is there is if you ask for it. So all of these changes are happening because of you. Inside each and every one of us, we can make these changes. An example, we just with Vegan Outreach launched a campaign to get vegan pancakes at IHOP. Go to this website, ask them to make this menu change. This is your form of activism today. we're all superheroes, whether we know it or not. So I want to leave you guys with one final question. It's how many vegans it takes to change a light bulb? All of us? It actually doesn't matter at all because we're not here to change light bulbs. We're here to change the world. Thank you. Thank you so much, Erica. I feel all like pumped up and ready to go out and take a nap, and then after that. All right, so I wanted to thank everybody for being here and taking part. Don't leave, wait, don't leave. We have some more announcements from Jen. But first I wanted to just let everybody know that in the beginning of this, when I announced that this was my first time emceeing, my plan was that at the end, I would be like, I did such a great job that now I'm available for bookings, you know, for birthday parties, bar mitzvahs, whatever. But yeah, no, not going to be doing that. However, I do a lot of work in Baltimore, and if you'd like to check out the work that I'm doing with Afro Vegan Society, Thrive Baltimore, the Greener Kitchen, and other things, please go to brendasanders.info, and all that information will be right there. Thanks again for coming.